Welcome back to Velsheen Rule. Earlier we told you about New York's Child Victims Act, a new law which gives people a one-year window to sue for damages related to sex abuse, regardless of when the alleged acts happened. The law went into effect at midnight, and immediately a flood of lawsuits were filed. Among those targeted were two of the largest institutions that have faced countless allegations of sexual abuse of kids: the Catholic Church and the Boy Scouts of America.
Now, this law is significant in cases like these because it extends the statute of limitations for child sex abuse. That means new victims will now have more time to come forward, specifically until the age of 55 to file lawsuits and until the age of 28 to seek certain criminal charges. Joining us now is Catholic child sex abuse survivor and advocate for other survivors, Sean Doherty, and Jennifer Freeman, an attorney representing child sex abuse victims, all ranging from Epstein accusers to the Catholic Church and Boy Scouts of America accusers. She also filed the first case under New York's new Crime Victims Act. Jennifer, talk to me about the significance of this.
This is historic legislation, landmark legislation that gives anyone of any age an opportunity to bring child sex abuse claims.
What's the difference? What's different today than yesterday at this time? If you're a victim or were a victim as a child.
Yesterday, if you were 25 years old, 38 years old, 85 years old, you had no claim to bring.
And these are civil suits?
These are all civil suits because the criminal suits are no longer available. Constitutionally, that would be impermissible to revive claims. So all we really have are civil actions. That's the only opportunity you have for victims.
Sean, you are not just a victim yourself. You are an advocate for others, for other victims of the Catholic Church, of sexual abuse within the Catholic Church. What does this law mean to you?
That's an incredible law. It's an incredible step forward. I was thankful to be in Albany last year when the Assembly and the Senate passed this historic legislation on my birthday, no less. And I got to witness firsthand the relief and the joy on my friends' faces in the Senate gallery as it passed. It's incredible.
One of the things you often say to us is that when you sometimes go on TV or you talk to people, it motivates those who have had a similar experience to yours to actually do something about it. This is bigger than so many of those instances because now people have a real opportunity to file a real lawsuit and they don't have to jump through some of the same hoops they would have had to if the statute of limitations had expired.
Absolutely. And the real winners in this are the communities within the state of New York. All of these suits that are being filed now today will all have discovery phases, and we will find out how many Jeffrey Epsteins there are in Pennsylvania or in New York, how many priests, how many Boy Scout leaders, how many coaches, how many doctors, how many parents. This is just the step in the filing. The discovery phase of this suit, of this law, is really what is going to protect children throughout New York.
To that point, though, Jennifer, how difficult will the discovery phase be? If these cases are 10, 20, 30 years old, the alleged perpetrators might be dead. Other witnesses might be. How difficult is discovery?
Discovery includes the victim telling their story, and there's nothing more compelling than the truth. In addition to that, there's going to be a lot of discovery of documents. There were the secret files from the Catholic Church.
And they'll have to put those forward?
They will need to put them forward.
Oh, boy.
There will be the ineligible files from the Boy Scouts. There will be all the witness evidence from Rockefeller University, since we have 200 claims, over 200 claims against that one institution, arising from one doctor.
One thing we've been talking about today and in the last few days.
One doctor, 200 different victims?
Over 200, just that we represent.
Let's talk about the Jeffrey Epstein victims. You represent some of them as well.
Yes, we do.
What changes today? This was you were already representing them. Were some of them outside of the statute of limitations and are able to now make a claim?
That's correct, but it's a little bit tricky with Epstein because a lot of moving parts right now. We don't know really where is his estate going to be pursued? Is it going to be in the Virgin Islands, where apparently he had a residence? That would be the natural place, but we don't know where that's going to be.
The fact that he's no longer alive, how much harder is it to go after his estate? Because the estate now could be under the guardianship of someone else.
It could be, but it also allows for the U.S. government to pursue civil forfeiture proceedings against some of his assets, which they may then hold for the victims. So it might turn out to be very positive.
But would that have been different if he were still alive?
You would have criminal forfeiture proceedings, but not civil.
Sean, the New York Archdiocese said that it paid out $65 million to more than 300 people through a compensation fund. In exchange, those victims waived their rights to file suit. How does this change that?
Well, they say they paid out $65 million, but, they may have done $1 or $2 billion worth of damages. What they paid out and the damages that they did are just the beginning. There is no discovery phase that we just spoke about in the payout compensation fund. So there's no transparency on who the abusers are. Through the civil courts, we have transparency. And unlike me, who's in Pennsylvania, I don't have that opportunity. Our Senate still hasn't stepped to the plate and hasn't passed this law. But we're hoping this year that we're able to get this done in Pennsylvania. And on top of it, we have an open federal investigation in Pennsylvania into the Roman Catholic Church, and that bridges our boundary with New York. We have federal investigations into Jeffrey Epstein, into the Roman Catholic Church, into the Boy Scouts, into Nassar. I think it's way past time that we start hearing presidential candidates start talking about what their intentions are with these federal investigations. We are hearing news story after news story of child sexual assault. We would like to see what's going to happen in the future in this election year.
So there's a lot of these cases that we hear about that were a long time ago, or where you mentioned Nassar, where an organization that you would have thought would have protected people, or the Catholic Church for that matter, wasn't doing that. Do you think this change and these lawsuits and this media coverage deter people who are abusers, who are going to be abusers? Is there any effect that has on that group of people?
I don't know that it'll affect the abuser themselves, because they're very emboldened. They want to act in plain sight. They want to do it right under your nose. Where it will change is the enabler, the one who turned their head and kept quiet. They're not going to keep quiet and go to jail for the abuser now. If they are on the hook now as well, they're going to speak up.
What do you think about that?
I think that's absolutely right, Sean. It's very important to have that additional ability to hold those institutions responsible, because that's really what's going to change the situation. It's really going to help protect children, which is what's most important.
Jennifer, this is massive in New York, but to Sean's point, he's in Pennsylvania. He can't do anything about it. Do you think we're going to see this law put in place in other states?
Well, so far, New York has really developed the gold standard. And after New York's passage of its laws, 17 additional states have passed some kind of statute of limitations reform, and the District of Columbia. Pennsylvania's not there yet, but we very much hope that Pennsylvania will come along as well.
Sean, what's your message today to other survivors who will see this either live or on social media?
You're not alone. My message is the same. Reach out to family, friend. People are listening. Reach out to your state attorney general's office. They are listening. The state attorney general in Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, has said previously that 46 state attorneys generals have reached out to his office to ask how he came about his report. And I can tell you they're listening. So pick up the phone and make that call.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there, and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.